The idea that a certain part of a city could have an emotional or psychological or psychic charge retained within it from past events is kind of a controversial one. On one hand, people will say things such as, well, how can we have cities such as Dresden and Hamburg that were bombed into oblivion during World War II? Why is the energetic imprint of the suffering of those times not still there? I would argue that it probably is. It's just that so many of the buildings that would have retained this emotional impact, this psychometric memory, were simply destroyed. But ancient buildings do have a psychological effect on us, particularly ones that have had tremendous suffering. Anyone who's been to places like Auschwitz or Belsen will tell you that they do have a certain eeriness about them, and birds and so on don't actually go there. There's no wildlife inside them. This is also a useful thing, depending on what your own, shall we say, magical requirements might be. In the 15th century, the Italian goldsmith, sculptor, artist and musician Benedetto Cellini in Florence, and he was a mover and a player within the Vatican itself, very close to the hierarchies of the Vatican and the papacy, including the Pope himself. He once took part in a summoning of demons ritual which took place inside the Colosseum in Rome, involving a Sicilian priest. Cellini brought along one of his helper boys. Cellini makes no doubt in his own memoirs that these demons were summoned by this Sicilian priest using a Greek grimoire that successfully carried out the operation, shall we say. The purpose of the young boy being brought into this demon summoning ritual is very significant, because he had two purposes. One, the boy was probably duped in there because his innocence and his purity would have been appealing to these entities. Secondly, his job as burning incense is the same reason why when you have a Catholic parade or a Greek Orthodox parade, the cardinal or archbishop or bishop who's in the procession is also, shall we say, a target, because of he's covered in jewels, he's covered in regalia, he's covered in all kinds of imagery. The boy swinging the incense in the parade, his purpose is to ward off the demons away from the archbishop. And the Catholic Church will come out and tell you this. They say it's for purification, not for purification of the air, it's for purification of demons. Now, why did Cellini and this Sicilian priest go to the Colosseum and not anywhere else in Rome? Because of the energetic charge within the stone of the Colosseum from all the horrific acts, as well as the emotional charge of the many thousands of ancient Romans who focused their energy on the center of the Colosseum. This would have made the place almost like a battery that's not actually brought into charge until you have these rituals performed. It's also why we have the ancient sites on these islands. The ones that get the most love are the ones that seem to have this energy about them. The ones that are ignored or simply just tourist objects, they lose their charge, generally. And this has been known forever, from the time of the earliest magic circles in Neolithic and maybe even Paleolithic communities, right up until the town square or the forum or the ovals or what they call the circuses of the Roman era. It was to focus an energetic charge, but this charge will only be retained as long as the buildings where the actual initial charge was generated, such as all the killings and all the battles inside the Colosseum in Rome, is retained, and this actually makes magic more effective. Hence why you have, these are, you can call them sacred spaces, some may say they're diabolical sacred spaces, but nonetheless they are sacred in the actual real sense. They exist to produce a charge. Centuries later, Salvador Dali, upon reading Salonini's biography, produced this really strange drawing of a pyramid with an all-seeing eye in it. Clearly we were getting an insight into, should we say, an unknown world or secret order the main artist had behind the scenes. Now we know Salvador Dali was very interested in things like quantum physics and quantum mechanics, but he was also very highly connected to the Jesuit movement within Spain. This is how he got back in. And so we're given magical insights into both art, the aesthetic, and construction, and civic engineering that were not given in the normal textbooks, because we are not involved in this process. We are outsiders, but they very much know it, and they very much are